Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, wherever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Media Matters for Anfield Index. What a night that was, eh? What a game, what a performance by so many. Anfield was electric, Liverpool were brilliant, Real Madrid are vanquished to a series of boos, which we all enjoyed, truth be told. I'm joined as ever by the renowned and the respected David Lynch, and David, there's so much to talk about with this one. I just want to get right into it straight away. And we'll start with the fans, the atmosphere. It was brilliant. It was electric, wasn't it, last night?
Yeah, brilliant. I was going to say from You'll Never Walk Alone onwards, but even before that, the atmosphere was really starting to get building as soon as people got in the ground. And it's just exactly what Liverpool needed, isn't it? It's been a tough recent run, and I think the atmosphere against Villa was very good as well, and he just kind of went up a notch for this one, as you would expect with Real Madrid coming in the Champions League. And it was just constant wall of noise, and everyone kind of playing the part, and everybody making sure the players knew that the fans had the back. And the Anfield is just at its best, isn't it, when you get fans and the players working in synergy together, and you got that for the entire 90 minutes yesterday. It was an absolutely brilliant performance, both on the pitch and in the stands.
It was, just great across the board. And there's so many points to discuss, so many players and comments to get into. So the first one, I thought that Andy Robbo's been talking for the official side just afterwards. I think he got these two bits spot on. From minute one, we were bang at it, hard to beat, working for each other. The quality was there too. And also said Courtois was outstanding. Deja vu for the lads from Paris. But we kept knocking. Maka got the goal. It's a massive 3 points. He's spot on with that. It was thoroughly deserved, wasn't it? I know it was 1-0, so it looks close, but it wasn't really.
No, Liverpool, the dominant force in the match, really, and kind of the expected goals and the shots kind of numbers bear that out, really. I think it ends up 9-2 in terms of shots on target, and I don't think Real Madrid have faced 9 shots on target very often at all in recent years. So that's a really impressive number, and about 2.5 on the expected goals for Liverpool, 0.5 or something like that for Real Madrid. So, in a normal world, that ends in a 2 or a 3-0 victory. And I think if it had done, then Real Madrid could have had absolutely no complaints, because that was the game we saw in front of us. You did have a little worry at times that Courtois was just going to keep pulling out the saves, and that Real Madrid, because they've got brilliant quality, would just have one moment and take it. That's the threat in these high-profile games against great sides. But of course, Liverpool, they didn't switch off at any moment. They kept completely solid throughout and used their moment when it came. And that was enough for a 1-0 win. But it was, as you say, could have easily been more for Liverpool. And had it been, they would have absolutely deserved it. This was as one-sided a 1-0 as you're likely to see.
Yeah, brilliant in so many senses. And we're only going to talk about an opposition player who started once, but Thibaut Courtois, he loves playing against us. He was, whatever you say, he was brilliant in this, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's this absolute freak, isn't he? One of those who can rival, I think, Alisson Becker as the best goalkeeper in the world. He's one of few who's up there in this company anyway. And I thought he was outstanding again. And I saw a statistic doing the rounds. Is it something to do with kind of 25% of the saves he's made in the Champions League have come against Liverpool? It was something like that. That just shows you how good he is against Liverpool. And he was another one where he kind of threatened to frustrate them last night. And do you know what's interesting about him? I think he's got a very similar build to Mamardashvili, and similar in the way he dresses the ball as well. And I just wonder, if Mamardashvili can kind of go along those lines and be a similar sort of keeper, then Liverpool have got a good one, because Courtois is just, gold standard again. And the only reason that Real Madrid leave not having lost by a greater margin, which, as I say, they would have deserved to.
Yeah, it would have been so much more. But let's talk about some Liverpool players. And as much as Courtois loves a game against us, Conor Bradley seems to adore a game against Real Madrid, of all teams. And some of the stats there, most recoveries with 7, 100% of his tackles, 10 passes into the final third. I don't think we're underselling this. This was Conor Bradley's best ever Liverpool game, wasn't it?
Yeah, but do you know what? I didn't kind of think about it like that, but probably fair. I mean, probably up there with his performance against Real Madrid last time. There, maybe the top two so far, and he was absolutely outstanding. I mean, I think Vinicius wins 2 out of 9 ground duels, which kind of shows you how much he comes off second best in that individual battle, and that's what it's all about as a fullback. Because particularly a team like Real Madrid, with the quality they've got all over the pitch, you have to leave 1v1s a lot, because you can't leave Bellingham free in the middle to go and double up out wide, or you certainly can't do it every time. And so, he ended up in a lot of situations where it was just him up against Vinicius, and just as he had done against Mbappe last season, he kind of took his pants down really and won that battle quite comfortably. So, that was really good to see, because I think there's been a few question marks around Bradley at the start of the season about what he is and what he can be. And, I've always been a big fan of his, but, clearly he's been disrupted by the injuries and the injuries suffered early in this season that he's kind of knocked him off his rhythm a little bit. But I think he's starting to get fit now. He's started to get some rhythm going, like a few other players, in fact. And, you just saw the absolute best of him yesterday, and not just brilliant defensively, but I thought very good going forward as well. He gets Vinicius yellow carded with a drive forward. He gets into dangerous areas a lot, and I thought his work in build-up was fantastic, which is something he'd been a little bit worried about in the start of this season. I'd say is that he's obviously not Trent, so he's never going to be as comfortable as that. But he plays some really nice, cute passes out, and he said a few balls into the final third as well. So. Just a brilliant all-round performance from him. And your only thing with him, your only concern, I would say, is that he just stays fit. And if he can do that, he's a top-class Liverpool right-back for me. He's definitely of that standard.
Yeah, you could only hope. I suppose it sounds almost like I'm bagging on him here, but we've seen Conor Bradley play a game like last night, but we've also seen him at times bought off at half times, and Szoboszlai moved to right back in different bits. Is the big challenge now for Conor Bradley stay fit and keep this level realistically?
Yeah, I mean, Slot makes the point a lot that he's not actually played that many games for Liverpool, so he is still quite an inexperienced young, and he is still young as well, by the way. Yeah. So he is quite inexperienced. He's got some lessons to learn, and so you probably are going to see the odd dip in performance and in finding it difficult. But I think it's interesting. You're probably not going to need Szoboszlai right back if you solve the build-up in the way that Liverpool have recently. And I think we should be really giving credit to Arne Slot about what's been happening there recently, and that has improved massively from earlier in the season, I think. And, you're against the team in Real Madrid and Aston Villa similarly, who are probably going to be more aggressive in the press than the teams that go long. And so to do it and to look like they've kind of worked things out in build-up, despite that, is hugely impressive. And I think he's just kind of tweaked how Liverpool do it a bit to help them play out. And that's helping everyone. Konaté's not suddenly stood there looking absolutely clueless. You're seeing Conor Bradley looking comfortable because he's got options. He's got either two options at the base of midfield coming in deep to meet him. He's got Mo Salah will sometimes drop in. I thought even Veert's coming into central positions. It just kind of worked how they did that yesterday, and it's worked in the last couple of games. So that will make Conor Bradley look a lot better as well. And yeah, if he can just stay fit now, that consistency of performance will come, no doubt about it.
And it kind of stood into Bradley in the midfield, because you've seen it tweaked a little bit against Villa, and especially in this one. In that build-up, before it kind of used to be just Gravenberch there and the other two would be ahead of him, but he's bringing a double pivot into the build-up, so there's multiple options. And noticeable as well, we're not seeing sort of Van Dijk and Konaté knock it back to each other. There's not those passing chains. They've got options to look forward. It's just that subtle tweak is making things look a million times better at the moment.
Yeah, just making everybody in the back line look like they're not kind of scared of the football, which is because, as much as you can say, and we spoke about this at the time, is that, look, you're not going to sign Mark Gay tomorrow, so you've got to find a solution in the meantime to these build-up issues, because using a single pivot is not it when you've got Konaté, who's not that great of kind of threading those little cute balls through. And just make it easier for Bradley, make it easier for Kerkez when he's in the team by giving them options to pass to work themselves out of the danger. So, a great solution from the manager that is absolutely working at the moment. And I just think it's benefiting absolutely everybody in the team and the team as a whole in terms of getting the ball from the back to the front safely. Therefore, you can attack more.
Yeah, and everyone just seems more comfortable with it at the moment. And someone who, I think it's fair to say, he had a terrible start to the season, but he was proper back now, Alexis McAllister. He deserved his goal in this one, but again, just another outstanding performance from him, wasn't it?
Yeah, and proof again that it's just, what do you do as a manager in these situations? It's almost nightmarish because you've got to play him back into form, but while you're doing it, he's dreadful, and he was dreadful for a long time this season. So it's a difficult one, and everyone's like, "Why are you still playing him?" But it's like, this is why you play him, because you get this week off him, and you're like, well, he's world class when he's on it, so I've got to get him there as quickly as possible. But the problem is, obviously, Liverpool were terrible in the meantime, so it's such a difficult one for managers. But there's no doubt once he is back to his best, and he is at the moment now. I think he was Liverpool's most important midfielder last season, and he's, he was just massive again in these last two, and brilliant again yesterday. Not just the goal, but everything else he gives you is, kind of knitting the team together, being the extra man in attack and being creative there, but also so good around second balls, which has been, again, one of the reasons it's been awful that he's been playing poorly, because he is quite good at getting around and kind of just nicking those little balls. He's not the most mobile, but he's reading of the game. He tends to know where they're going to drop, and when he's got the fitness to get there, then he will win you the ball. And there was a few where he got really in tight and snapped in and won the ball yesterday, and Liverpool was suddenly on the front foot because he's got the quality as well to get the first pass away. So, brilliant and very important player for Liverpool, and what a relief to see him back to playing at this standard.
Yeah, let's just hope he keeps this level, because when McAllister plays well, everything tends to knit forward from there. And I suppose one of his midfield counterparts, a standard has just not dropped for 1 single second with Dominic Szoboszlai, another assist. But I think we're fair to say, from what we've seen, we're looking at a world-class player right now with Szoboszlai, aren't we?
The biggest compliment I can pay him is, at the moment, there's, at least I'll be careful how I've phrased it, there are shades of Steven Gerrard to the performances that he's putting in terms of sheer work rate, snapping into challenges, being comfortable in the attacking third, those powerful driving runs and bringing others into play. There is a bit of Gerrard about him in the way he's playing the games at the moment, and I just think he's gone to another level now. I mean, he's been very good since he's come in, really, I have to say. But I think, he's getting a little bit older, he's getting wiser, he's getting all that extra experience, he's fully adapted to this team and the league that Liverpool are in, and doing the Premier League, Champions League thing back to back. He's unbelievable work rate he provides on top of all that as well. And he is that's it. There's no other description than world class, really. He's just he's one of the best midfielders out there at the moment, and he's just crucial to this Liverpool team. So hopefully he can keep it up as well.
Yeah, there's just so many in good form. You just hope it continues the way it is. And speaking of continuing it in good form, it's weird because I've seen a mixed reaction to this, a little bit like, because Carreras is a good player and he had a decent game, but as it says there, Salah completed the most dribbles with 5, and he won the most duels with 9 there as well. I thought Mo Salah looked like Mo Salah again on the European stage last night.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think no goal, as you say, but I think his performance level was very good again, which is, what you want from him. He's not going to score every week, and that's absolutely fine. But if you can just play and be a net positive contribution to the team, then that's great. And I actually thought it was interesting with the Carreras thing. I thought pretty even battle for me in the end. I actually thought Carreras had a great game, as you say, but I thought Salah played really well, and Salah got the better of him, 2 or 3 times and got into dangerous scenarios. But also Carreras, got a couple in on him and won the ball a few times. So it was a really, really good battle. I think Carreras, did Manchester United not think he was better than Malacia or Luke Shaw? I found that absolutely amazing, to be honest. But it's, it was a really, really good battle. And you couldn't say maybe either came out on top, just that both played very, very well. And that's good news to Liverpool, because to have Salah back playing well is of course, incredibly important. And, he, like McAllister, would have been so easy to kind of drop him out of the team in the long term. But this is why you keep him in, because it very, very suddenly changes, and it has with Salah.
It's really hard. It just seems to be changing. These small, subtle tweaks are having a massive effect, and it just was so good on so many levels. And we talked about Madrid a little bit. Courtois outstanding. Carreras had shades, but I know we were WhatsApping about this, and you were wrong about it last night, but the referee was Real's second best player last night, and that was a penalty, wasn't it? Now you've looked at it again.
No, not even close, to be honest. I really just don't want to see penalties given for those sorts of things. What kind of surprised me is that they've overturned it in a UEFA competition, because they seemingly absolutely love giving handballs. So, but for me, that's common sense. I mean, you look how close the arm is to him. You look the speed the ball is moving, and I think you've got to say it's a good process as well from the referees. I think he thinks it's a handball, so they give the free kick. Then VAR tells him it's inside the box, so okay, then it's got to be a penalty. But do you want to have a look at the handball, because we're not entirely sure it's definitely handball? He goes and has a look. He decides it's not, and then of course the outcome then has to be, unfortunately for Liverpool, not a corner, which they would have won, but of course a drop ball to the goalie. So that's an unfortunate kind of quirk of the rules. But I thought the process around that, this is kind of what VAR was brought in for, and you can't really argue with that. I mean, I would have been gutted if Liverpool get a penalty given against them for that kind of handball. That's just not a handball for me, really. And like I say, the process that worked through to get to where they were seemed absolutely fine to me. If I had one problem with the ref, because I thought the ref actually had a decent game, really, all in all. It's the odd one where you go, I'm not sure about that, but I thought he had a decent game in terms of controlling it. One thing I'd say he has to work on is maybe his positioning, because he was playing as a holding midfielder for Real Madrid at times. I think there was 2 or 3 occasions where he was in the way of the play. That is something I would definitely criticise him for. But I don't have too many complaints around the non-penalty and his performance in general, I have to say.
Yeah, it may be fair. I still think, I don't know how to get away with a flying save, but we're allowing it for this one. It doesn't matter, I suppose, too much in that regard. And in terms of off-the-field news, I mean, even this game gave us plenty to talk about and get stuck into. And I'm going to put a picture of 2 big characters in the football world on screen, and you've probably no doubt about where I'm going on this. Virgil van Dijk, Wayne Rooney afterwards. I mean, he stuck it on him big time, didn't he? Talking about over the top. But it got, I wouldn't say like heated, that would be completely wrong. But, it was quite direct, wasn't he, Virgil, in terms of, well, when people are talking about me signing my contract and letting it slide, that's not who I'm about at all. And I disagree with. I like this, though. You want to see the skipper having a pop back at these things, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, because these people have a platform to say whatever they want, and I think it's only fair that the players get to go back at them from time to time and say. And this is the thing that I always try and kind of ride the line myself, and this is why messages all the time, in the recent run of why you're not calling for Slot's head and all these kind of things, but you've got to kind of keep it on a level, I think, of like, the criticism, you don't go too over the top. You maybe don't go too over the top in the praise as well, because results can kind of change, or you've got to look at underlying performance. You just got to kind of be balanced in the way you approach these. And the one thing I hate the most in kind of journalism or punditry or whatever you want to call it as well is that when people start to kind of apply mad logic to, like, the results are poor at the moment, so it must be this bugbear that I've got about this specific thing, or like Rooney speculating about the idea that Van Dijk, an unbelievable professional, one of the greatest defenders we've ever seen, is playing poorly or is in a team that's playing poorly because he can't be bothered now because he's signed a new contract. I mean, that is an unbelievable insult to a fellow professional. And I think that's below Wayne Rooney to say that, really. And I think so, Virgil van Dijk shouldn't have to sit there and take that and listen to it. He should be able to push back. And I thought he did it in a respectful way. I thought Rooney, to be fair, didn't shirk it either. He kind of accepted it. So a positive exchange all around. But I would say this, and to be honest, not just pundits and journalists have a responsibility. I think fans in general, it would, the whole football experience would be nicer if people didn't approach criticism in that way of like, I don't know, a good example, like Canate is only playing a certain way because Real Madrid are interested. He's not a good professional, or, same with Salah with his contract, or any of these kind of multitude of reasons people suggesting it's that they lack professionalism, or they're not good people and that's the reason they're losing, or Slot is arrogant and he wants to change things from the way Jurgen's been playing, and all these kind of nonsense theories that they get bandied around. I just don't think it's fair, and I think it was trying, and this is why I think Wayne Rooney should have done better than this, is that because we are close to it, we see these people as human beings and they get to interact with them. I know there's no way that Van Dijk could get to where he is without having been, an insane level of professional and knowing what his standards are like and knowing the guy down the years. So for someone who's, been a professional footballer himself and a brilliant one like Wayne Rooney, I just think he should have shown a little bit more respect there. And I'm really glad he kind of got called out for it. And I think a few more people should get called out for some of those things he'd been saying about Van Dijk, Salah, Slot recently. Certainly if they're suggesting that they don't care in some regard, because that will never be true.
True. It was just funny watching Wayne Rooney go the same shade of red as Virgil's tracksuit. And was there then Arne Slot talking afterwards and saying about, well, if you lose games as a manager, and then eyeballing Rooney as well. So I think he got well and truly put back in his place. But I suppose positives for us from last night, and you're always looking for trends, patterns that we talk about. Back-to-back clean sheets against two very good sides, one elite to be fair as well. And just with the tweaks and the way things are going, momentum, it may be a bit too strong to say we're full, but things just looking positive trend-wise, aren't they?
Yeah, and the best thing, not just kind of the surface level stuff like the results, and as you say, the clean sheets, it's kind of what's going on under the hood as well. I mean, they've deserved the clean sheets basically. I mean, I think they've probably given up less than an expected goal against Real Madrid and Aston Villa. I mean, that's how you keep clean sheets, is doing that. Because you're not relying on luck there at all. That is a really good underlying defensive performance. So, the job is, of course, is to do that as many times a season as you possibly can. And so they're back to doing that. They've done it in back-to-back games now. The best performance level we've seen in terms of the entire balance of the team in 2 games back-to-back now. So just keep repeating it is the job now. And you just feel like the foundations for good performance were there in those 2 performances. And if they keep repeating those, then, they'll stop teams scoring against them and they will score goals themselves.
Yeah, if you do that, the results will just come from there.